All right. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Keyframes demo. In the last episode, we were hanging out downtown with Jamie and our friends. I feel weird saying that, and I still haven't quite figured out what I should be calling Deja and Cameron because, we're also friends with Percy and Elio, right? But we're not hanging out with Percy and Elio, so I feel weird just saying, my friends. Percy and Elio are my friends as well. Anyway, we're hanging out as a little group downtown during a break from studying, and I'm excited to see what exactly we're going to be doing downtown. So let's hop into this episode and see what's going to be going down. We passed a certain store, a small establishment lit cozily by lamplight. The table behind the front window stacked edge to edge with piles of notebooks, planners, and stationery kits. Oh no. Since she was leading the pack, you could see the determined set to Deja's shoulders as she walked firmly by. Behind you, Cameron gave an impressed hoot. "D, not gonna look around while we're here?" Cameron. She stopped and turned back, looking uncharacteristically conflicted as she clutched her hands to her chest, a tightly controlled, terse shake of her head, as if she was fighting to hold herself still. "I can't. Not again. I bought so much last time I was in there. I think I funded their children's college tuition several times over. It was worth it though, right?" It was. She answered without hesitation, then took a painful step away, and another, then another, as the distance eased the temptation in her heart. "You go here often?" "More than I should, yes." "I've never seen you in here. Bad timing, I guess." "Oh?" She stopped again, this time out of curiosity. Swiveling, she turned to where Jamie was looking idly through the shop's window, reevaluating him with her weight shifted to one side. "I haven't seen you in here before either." "Was your poison? Deja's is all the pastel highlighters." "Slander. What's the point if you don't have a full set?" "Wax seals, okay." You blinked, even with Deja and her considerable stack of supplies for roommates. That was an unexpected answer. "Seals, plural?" "I bought one, then suddenly I had a collection. I don't even use them." "Because you have no friends to write to?" "No, because I just write email." He bit off his words and gave Deja a testy look. "You're fucking with me." "He's learning. How grand." Jamie rolled his eyes but backed off and turned to you, passing the ball smoothly into your court. "And you, Kit, what do you shop for?" "When it came to your downtown shopping habits, you usually ended up..." "Ooh, okay, let's see. Ooh, somewhere exciting." The reason why I said oh no before is that I love good stationery. I have an entire bookshelf, no joke. I'm not lying to you right now. I have an entire bookshelf in my house that's just notebooks. There's nothing written in them. Empty, plain, lined notebooks. Every so often I grab one, I start writing in it, but I have a lot. When I was moving, I really regretted having so many notebooks because it was like multiple boxes full of just empty notebooks. I was like, why do I do this for myself? And yet, immediately, the very first thing I gotta do is set up that bookshelf again and put all my notebooks in it. I have too many notebooks for my own good. This store would be awful for me. That being said, where do I usually end up when I'm shopping downtown? If there's a video game store, I've got to peruse, but I don't always buy things. If there's a bookstore, I get at least $100 worth of books. I am spending at least $100, if not getting close to $200 every single time I go into a bookstore. It's a problem. The bookstore isn't on here though. Unfortunately, I feel like that would be a good answer. I feel like it should be on here. But it's not. So I guess I'm saying somewhere because I'm not really a big art kind of person. What need do I have for salt and spices? I don't cook. The record store? I don't have a record player. Nor do I listen to a lot of music. The toy store? Somewhere. What does that mean? It's not on the list, my dude. It means they don't really stick around if we're not there. It's a nice place for what it's worth, just not quite for me. But hang on, I'm still thinking about how we've apparently missed you every time we come here. Well, it's not like I stand in the middle of the street waiting to be recognized. Still, I should have seen you at the community garden at least once. What about the photo shoot alleyway? The frozen Zippy? Tell me you know Nina at least. What is the Zippy and why is it frozen? It's essentially an ice cream truck. It's cute. They've got a song and everything. It goes like doo 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 doo. And they do seasonal flavors instead of all the traditional ones. Such as, we should go see. Huh. And what's Nena? Oh, Nena's a dog. The dog. We see her sometimes. She just wanders around between all the shops. Oh, a terrier with one brown ear, one black? Yeah, that's... Wait, so you do know Nena? I just call her dog. Sup, dog? He said it as blandly as possible, and now it was the three of you's turn to stare. You do mean the one that lives at the thrift shop, right? Deja cut in, slinging an arm over Yor and Cam's shoulders and stepping close. My friends, I believe we found our Nena. Nena Whisper? I still don't know how to pronounce this dog's name. My God, you're right. Okay, explain again. We see Nena around sometimes, but we haven't been able to figure out where she lives. We're just a little surprised, that's all. I see. She lets us pet her, but she's pretty free-spirited. We didn't want to chase her around, so... Deja adjusted as well, leaning gently into you with her cheek pressed to your temple. Jamie took the hint, clearing his throat lightly as his head tipped to one side. Well, it's an anticlimactic resolution, but I can solve that particular mystery for you if you'd like. Don't get me wrong, ice cream's fine too. I want ice cream, y'all. I'm thinking about it right now. It's too cold for ice cream. I'll tell you the exact temperature it is outside. It's currently 36 degrees outside. No, just kidding. It just changed on my phone screen. It's currently 34 degrees outside. Fahrenheit. However, ice cream sounds good. I want ice cream. Oh, I think I have a little one in my freezer, actually. Wait, do I? Shit, I was just in my freezer earlier, and now I can't remember if I have a single thing of ice cream. I want ice cream. Then a zippying we shall go. Sure, I'm down. You know where it is? I will in a minute. This way. If Deja had her natural sense for parking spots, Cam could locate the zippy no matter where it was. Arguably, all they had to do was listen for its song, but still, they'd never led you astray. You came to a small enclosed park, where a static melody crackled cheerfully in the air. The source, a squat vintage van, painted a cheerful pink and parked with its window open. So Zippy refers to the model? I think so. It's an old mail truck. Hello. Almost on cue, a young girl popped her head out of the window. She wasn't immediately recognizable, a new employee or a part-timer, so for Cameron's sake, you opted to take the lead. Hiya. Welcome. Is this your first time visiting us? You and Cameron shook your heads in unison, but rather than point Jamie out as a newcomer right away, you carried on with the conversation. What do you got today? Here you go. She unrolled a small square of fabric, weighted at the corners with magnets so it stuck neatly to the side of the van. On it were 3 fabric patches representing the current seasonal menu, okay? I don't care about anything else. Just give me the choices for ice cream, damn it. Who's up first? You glanced among yourselves, shuffling back a bit so everyone had room. From his spot in your improvised group huddle, Jamie leaned in a little, loose ends of his hair slipping down over one shoulder as he examined the menu in closer detail. I think I'll go with this one. Oh, okay, very informative. Let me choose ice cream flavors, goddammit. Let me live vicariously through these characters. Deja tapped the leftmost patch, then glanced at Cameron, moving her hand over to the middle patch next. And this one's for them. You go ahead, Kit. I'm still thinking. Well, no need to rush him. You pointed to. Huh? A bundle of vivid red stems with a crown of green leaves. Sounds like rose. Half a red apple inside a tall glass cup. Or a lumpy yellow squash with a curly stem. What the fuck is up with these ice cream? Like, I know we said seasonal, but like, what the fuck? I guess apple? I'm questioning the tall glass cup. Like, what exactly does that mean? My other thought is like rose because I like floral tasting things. Something that I found out recently about myself, actually. My friends and I were trying a drink and they all hated it. And I was like, no, it's really good. It tastes like flowers. They're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm hoping the tall glass cup doesn't mean that it's like cider or something. I don't know. I'll have this one. Finally, Jamie reached out, brushing his pointer finger against the right side patch. This one, please. Isn't the right side the... Oh no, the squash. Interesting. I wanted to know what he was getting. You got it. After sorting out your payments, the vendor disappeared into the back of the truck, returning with several serving cups balanced in her hands. Your orders were distributed in short order. A cup of blossom pink sorbet for Deja, one each of a pale amber sorbet for you and Cameron, and a warm sunset orange ice cream for Jamie. All right, from left to right, you've got rhubarb, apple cider, and summer is squash. Rhubarb. Interesting. Desserts in hand, you settled at one side of the plaza. One by one, you got comfy and dug in. Your first spoonful filled your mouth with a familiar combination of cinnamon, nutmeg, and citrus zest, all overlaid by a clear, cold rush of apple flavor. You hummed your satisfaction, making eye contact with Cameron as they did the same. You traded enthusiastic nods, too busy snacking to chatter properly. All right, final thoughts? I like it. It's like a hug in the summertime, but without the sweat stains. Ugh. I said without. All cozy, zero icky. Jamie? He motioned towards his dessert, and he scraped a little ice cream up before it could melt. It's mellow, not too sweet. That's a good thing. I gotta say, squash ice cream is a pretty weird turn of phrase. Is it? I rather enjoy it. Nothing wrong with that. Deja, what about yours? Your roommate shrugged amicably, throwing you a peace sign to emphasize her relaxed state. It's pink. What more could I ask for? For a moment, you'd achieved the peaceful, lazy breakaway from the study room that you've been looking for. It was a nice moment, sugar-sweet and dappled by warm sunlight. And then it all went horribly wrong. Want to see who can get brain freeze the fastest? That'll do it. And there it went. I'd say the winner gets ice cream, but that seems recursive. I mean, ice cream is ice cream. They both looked to you and Deja, waiting expectantly. No. You didn't hesitate to show your hesitation, looking wistfully down at your cup. Okay, do not worry. I'm gonna kick your ass so fast at this you'll have plenty left to enjoy. Oh, so it was like that. Okay, Molinares, you're on. Your roommate only raised her spoon. Why are we doing this? Readying herself with a wordless smile. And thus, as Cameron giddily counted you down, you prepared to freeze your brain. Oh no. 3, 2, 1, go, go, go. I almost said that backwards. You lifted a large spoonful and chomped down, pressing your tongue against the roof of your mouth. Your senses flooded with flavor before whiting completely out as a wave of frigid pain hit you. Oh, I almost had it. Brain freeze! Cameron smacked their forehead with the heel of one hand, a mere second after you did the same, all in vain as you both screwed up your faces against a tide of short-lived agony. Why are we doing this? Cracking an eye open, you were rewarded by the rare sight of Deja sitting with her face scrunched up as well, lips pressed tightly shut into a reluctant pout. Doing okay there, Dee? It's quite sour in large mouthfuls. That drew an abrupt laugh from Jamie, which he politely smothered with the back of his hand. Well, it seems Kit emerges the victor. Yippee! You pointedly looked at Jamie's cup, and he rolled his eyes, then lifted a large blob of ice cream and downed it. He chewed, clearly attempting to shock his nerves as quickly as possible, and then... Why did I do this? Ow. Ultimately, the decision was made to not go for a second round. An IOU for the winner would have to suffice. You polished off what was left of your dessert, chatting casually, as you did. When's the best time of year to have ice cream? The question is flawed. You can eat ice cream any time. It's the same. It does hit different in winter, though, doesn't it? But it's still the best in summer, I think. The contrast is the best part. I think it depends on the flavor, to come to think of it. I don't see how, aside from personal taste, how would an ice cream flavor relate to the weather at all? Noticing a small smear of melted ice cream on his hand, Jamie clicked his tongue softly and stood. He extended a hand for your empty cups, gesturing for you to stack them together. I'll take these to the trash can if we're all done. I need a napkin anyway. You lolled back in your seat in the meantime, gazing up at the springtime sky overhead. Next to you, Cameron did the same, shaggy bangs falling back messily as they sighed. This is nice. Feel better about exams yet? No. But I do feel better about feeling better. They made a nonsensical wiggling gesture with one hand, and you nodded solemnly. As strange as it sounded, taking time off from studying was an important part of, studying. What about you? All good? It's been a good break. Good. I think we all needed it. Would you like one of these? Jamie interrupted you as politely as he could, and you pulled yourself around to face him as he returned. He held out a die-cut circular sticker, nodding back towards the zippy for an explanation. I got a few. Just on a whim? Just on a whim. He blinked patiently at you, and after a beat, you took the sticker with a dry smile. Well, thank you. You're welcome. These are cute. I always forget to ask how much they cost. Thank you. It wasn't quite a shrug on Jamie's shoulders, but you got the sense he didn't want any of you to offer to pay him back. He just slipped your sticker away for safekeeping instead. Oh, okay. Soon you were meandering down the street once more, taking up a friendly debate about film and television adaptations. You didn't like that one? I thought it was pretty good. Visual effects can only compensate for so much. The real question is, do you read the original before going to see it? You opened your mouth to chime in, but stopped as you realized you heard something. Hey, what's going on over there? Up ahead was the muffled flow of multi-layered conversation, interwoven with distant music and the rustle and snap of canvas overhangs in the breeze. Deja, Cameron, and Jamie paused to listen as well, and you all leaned over to peek around the corner of the next crosswalk. Whoa, how'd we miss this? A double row of tents stretched down the city center, capped at the far end by a traffic barrier and a small stage. Residents and students alike browsed, chattered, and laughed as they all milled to and fro. Looks like a festival. Look up there. He followed his gaze back to the stage, where a guitarist provided an idle acoustic backdrop to the whole event. Above, a banner advertised a 2-day craft fair, sponsored by and for local businesses. Wait a sec, there are clubs here too. Cameron pointed at Rin Mayer's colors painted on a few signs and booths. Attendees at one such booth were decorating cupcakes, those at another folding paper flowers, and at a third, weaving? So that's why campus is so quiet today. I wonder when all this was organized. Pretty recently, I think. It wasn't advertised in any newsletters until a week or two ago at most. Something about Deja's tone gave you pause. She was searching the scene with specific intent, ignoring the booth's contents, in a way that reminded you an awful lot of the barbecue. There was one difference, which you noticed only by the dint of being her roommate. Yes, she was watching as if to check things were running smoothly, but she was wary, almost as if. Deja, is this? Huh? Your roommate's smile was iced with sweet intentions. It clicked. Deja had known the fair would be here. But, and here was the important bit, she didn't want to be here as an SGB member for once. Whatever the reason, unfortunately, Deja Lamar had a reputation for never, ever taking a break. Deja, thank God you're here. Walk faster. Before you could move, a vaguely familiar student wearing bright pink leggings leaped onto your path, reaching out to grab Deja dramatically by the shirt. Deja nearly sidestepped, and as the student caught her balance, you noticed her bedazzled name tag. That explained the familiarity. You'd seen her a few times at events that Deja had helped manage. You weren't really acquainted, it was just that between the highlighter tones of her outfit and her ability to speak in all caps, it was easy to recognize her as one of the SGB's more outgoing students. It happened. One? What happened? My fortune teller told me it would, but everyone else on the board said we'd have enough, but we are in fact completely out. We're out. Out of sequins. After that particularly piteous wail, she paused for breath. Silence settled like powder snow for all of 2 seconds, as each of you blinked slowly at her. And this is a problem because, Deja, please, the fact that the problem exists at all means I failed as the event organizer. You know I've been planning this fair for months. You looked carefully to one side, trying to catch Cameron's eye. Your suspicions that Deja had known about this fair all along seemed more plausible by the second. Cam, unfortunately, was too busy hiding behind Jamie. The two of them had promptly taken 3 large strides backwards upon... Again, I don't know how to pronounce this name. Q's arrival, trying to look as uninvolved as possible. I don't even know where to begin with that name, I'm so sorry. That left you next to your roommate, not that you needed to speak up anytime soon. Their distress seemed largely focused on Deja and Deja alone. Be reasonable. If you really need more sequins, you can go buy them. Yeah, I could if I hadn't lost my wallet, and if we weren't understaffed, and if we had enough budget left over, and if everyone who needs more would stop asking me when we're getting more. How many clubs asked you for sequins? All of them. That was surely an exaggeration, but before you could try to point that out, they latched onto Deja's arm, turning at the last second to wave frantically with her other hand. Oh, hi, Cameron. Hi, Kit. You waved a little back out of confusion more than anything. You didn't recall ever introducing yourself to her, but of course there was no time to ask. I'll bring her back to you, I promise. Meow? And she dove between two tightly spaced tents, dragging Deja along into the next aisle and beyond. Meow? To make matters worse, when you turned to ask what that had been about, Jamie and Cameron were both gone. What the fuck? Now what were you supposed to do? Oh, man. I guess we gotta look for Cameron. I assume they're still together. You couldn't be sure if they'd stuck next to Jamie or not, but if Cameron was wandering around in a crowd on their own, you couldn't help but worry. You inched back into the flow of foot traffic, drifting between larger groups of people as you started searching both sides of the street. Sorry, excuse me, just passing by, sorry. Of course, it was much easier to get lost in a crowd than it was to find someone lost in a crowd. You had to slow down to search, and people at each booth tried to talk to you as a result. What is it? I saw him. I think he's at the fair. Well, I know where Jamie is. Saw who? While you extricated yourself from yet another conversation, you heard a tangle of sentences one aisle over, near a tented booth run by one of the local businesses. It wasn't the first exchange that gave you pause. It was the wash of voices that quickly followed, as laughter varying intents and volumes filled the air. Jamie. Hot Jamie? Yes, obviously hot Jamie. You tilted your head and crept closer, slipping behind a tall stack of unused chairs. Maybe this was the reason Jamie had disappeared so quickly while you'd been preoccupied. The strangers, at least 3 of them, all sounded like Rin Mayer students. Did you see which way he went? No, he's the one that got away. Every time. There was a chorus of sighs from the wistful to the mocking. Someone with a more acerbic tone took over, their words clipped so that you had no problem imagining the disdain on their face. You'd think WMU's most popular bachelor wouldn't spend so much time playing hard to get. Maybe that's part of the appeal. It's all in the chase. Come on, I'd rather chase someone who I can have a real conversation with. I hate these people. Honestly, get behind me, Jamie. I'm fighting all of these people for you. What the fuck? Get away from him. Again, laughter. Colder this time. You shifted on your feet, keeping quiet despite the ugly prickle in your stomach. Let me fight them. Oh, you kids know Jamie. A new voice joined the conversation. Someone much older who kept a warm, friendly tone despite the topic at hand. He was probably the vendor at the tent you were eavesdropping on. There was a bit of a pause before a student spoke up. Yeah, you know him too? Sure, he comes by the downtown markets pretty often. Sweet guy, always fun talking to him. You weren't sure which half of that puzzled you more, the part where even a non-student found Jamie sweet, or the part where he spoke to shopkeepers frequently enough that they called it fun. I remember when he got those bookends from you for 30% off? Don't remind me, he haggled me down for a whole hour. Sorry, I don't think you're talking about Jamie? Werder? Well, I don't know his full name, but he's a tall blonde fellow, isn't he? Goes to your school? Yeah, sorry. That just didn't sound like anything he'd do. He's not that chatty. Sure, don't mind me. You let me know if you're interested in anything here. I am. The conversation subsided into some low rumbles or mumbles. And after a moment, the students moved away and rejoined the crowd. You stepped out of your hiding spot, returning to your side of the street. You hadn't heard what you were hoping for, namely a clue as to wherever Jamie had gone. Instead, you'd heard 2 gossiping perspectives on the man himself. Was that really what other students thought about him? Let's focus on the students. I'm going to fight them. It hadn't necessarily felt good listening to people your age talk about him like that. If the debacle at Reina's had been any indication, this is how people usually treated him. by rushing right over his own boundaries and expressions with her own assumptions firmly in hand. You knew from experience that he knew how to put his foot down when he felt the need to. Judging from what you just heard, that backfired on him too, by making him seem cold and evasive. It wouldn't do to speculate too much on your own. You cleared your throat gently, then looked to each side of the street. Time to get back on track. For now, that meant wandering around the fair, searching each row of booths and tents for signs of the people you'd come here with. It was slow, but it was better than waiting for them to find you. As you passed one of the school club tents, a brassy laugh caught your ear. It's all over now. You're almost out of sequins. No, I can make this work. You glanced in the tent before you could help yourself, spotting a sign that seemed to advertise Rin Mayer's Ceramics Club. Inside, 2 students were holding a demonstration for passerby. They'd apparently chosen to make sculptures, and both of their projects practically bristled with sequins embedded in the unfired clay and glimmering in the daylight. Gone too far to turn back. Your pride will be your downfall, fool. On your own head be it. You had a feeling you just found out why she was so desperate to find more sequins. You shook your head, smiling to yourself, and kept walking. You made it halfway down the next part of the fair and ran into the student government booth, crammed tightly between 2 larger tables. The place was a tiny beehive of activity. You had a suspicion that neither Cameron nor Jamie would be nearby. They'd disappeared as soon as Deja had gotten roped back into her responsibilities, after all. Hey, hi, excuse me. But then the student at the front of the booth waved vigorously at you, trying to catch your attention. Nope. You felt bad about ditching them, even if you didn't exactly know them. Still, you were on a mission to find a missing friend, and so you shook your head apologetically before turning to hurry away. Before you even realized she was behind you, you crashed right into Deja. Or, well, you would have if she hadn't caught you smoothly by the shoulders and spun you around. Nice try, Rumi. Oh, there you are. Your heels scraped a little reluctantly on the asphalt as she steered you cheerfully back to the SG tent. Oh no. Now it was your turn to get roped into something. Deja, you're back. I am, but I've only got time for one more thing. What did you want Kit for? Damn it. Oh, they wavered for just a moment, then pointed down the street, towards the stage that capped the far end of the craft fair. Our next performers had to cancel. We've got about a half-hour gap now. And so you asked for me? Keegan's still up there, but could you go tell him he has to adjust his set list? Okay. Out of habit more than anything, you looked at Deja. She was quick to nod, looking rather agreeable despite the added errand. Sure, here, this is from her. In exchange, she handed over a folded receipt, and as the SG member added it to a folder, you and your roommate stepped away. So, how'd everything go with her? Deja waved a hand languidly, then reached up and slid her hair back over one shoulder. It went fine. She mostly needed help calming down. Did you find more sequins? Long story short, yes. I had to talk to the art store people about giving us a discount. You know, I heard someone around here saying Jamie likes to haggle too. She hummed inquisitively at that, her arms swinging lightly as she relaxed her gait. I really should try to recruit him. It'd be nice having another negotiator around. I don't know, I feel like he'd prefer to stay out of everyone's way. Something about your tone tipped her off, and Deja shot you an expectant look. With a light shrug, you told her more about the conversation you overheard. Yeah, unfortunately, that sounds pretty typical. I don't envy him. I knew he was popular, but yeah, it wasn't great. It's juvenile. Deja spoke simply, her voice crisp and controlled. She nudged your elbow lightly to signal which way to turn, and you followed her with a small smile. The farther you got from the student government booth, the more her posture and demeanor loosened. That was good. She deserved a break as much as the rest of you did. Did you want to come here because of the craft fair? If you must know, yes. She chuckled darkly, hooking her fingers together behind her back. I got a few texts while we were studying asking for any spare board members to come help out. Was that all? There may have been some free samples on offer as well. Why do all this in the first place? Isn't it obvious? The look that crossed her face was one of smug, self-satisfied confidence. Nobody else can do it as well as I can, so why not get it done myself? How'd she know who I was earlier? I mean, you've been to enough events with me that she figured it out. I have a second question. Is it the meowing? She does that when she moves through small spaces. I've never asked why. I mean, okay. It's a weird thing to say, but I can kind of understand because, like, nobody normally does that. So it's a way to get people's attention. You know? Like, if you just say, hey, coming through, people are probably not going to look at you. But if you meow, they're going to be like, what the fuck? Like, I have this specific way that I put my hands. I don't know how to explain it. When just like together, I guess. And then like when I'm going a specific way, I move just the fingers of my hands in that direction. You know, so like the people who are in front of me can know which way like I'm planning to go. And then sometimes I'll say beep beep, but like for the most part, it's me kind of like clapping my hands together and then moving the fingers. Like if you've ever put your hands together and like waved them, no, because wave kind of sounds like a different. I need a hand cam. But I mean like in an ocean wave sort of thing, like not just waving like hello, but like I don't know, back and forth. But it's directional. Hey, is it hard handling SGB work on top of everything else you do? Yes and no. Deja shrugged fluidly, as if she'd answered this question dozens of times before. I do have to be careful with my time and energy. But you've never seen me get tired of it, have you? I would. The next look she threw you was openly playful, and you chuckled in return. That I have not. That's all. The two of you ducked under the string of flags that kept people from getting too close to the stage, circling around to the stairs that led up to the raised platform. Seated near the edge was another, also vaguely familiar student. Based on the guitar case near their feet, this was the performer you were looking for, but... Hey, we played volleyball together, didn't we? Yeah, I recognized from the name Keegan. Hi, Keegan. Got a sec? Sure. He was sitting backwards in his chair with his arms folded across the back and his chin resting on top. Their easygoing energy fit into this laid-back event much better than it had at the volleyball game. Got an SG update for you. The next act couldn't make it. Deja laid the facts out quickly, and Keegan nodded sedately. They didn't seem too surprised, or maybe they were sleepy. It was a little hard to tell from his expression alone. That's fine. You need a second to get set up? I had a feeling. I knew I was going to be roped into this somehow. It took you a moment to realize he was addressing you specifically. No, you need to go on for twice the amount of time you think you are. Oh, no, I'm not replacing them. Sorry. You shook your head, but Keegan only nodded again, adding a little shrug of one shoulder. He didn't seem that bothered by the change in plans. Okay, so I guess I have free reign for a bit? Yeah, you can just freestyle whatever you feel up to. Are you performing for the entire fair? No breaks? It's not as bad as it sounds. You squinted slightly. Their tone had been pretty placid, and so was the tiny chuckle they let out next. Really, I don't mind, as she hired me, so I'm here for the day. It's a cushy gig. They're paying me in sequins. Just kidding. He tipped a little wink in Deja's direction, and your roommate rolled her eyes. So word was getting around the fair about that, huh? Okay, as long as you know. Break a leg. Will do, Vice Pres. Will do. Free at last, free at last. Deja gave a sing-song sigh, and together you wove a meandering path into the other half of the craft fair. Come to think of it, where are the others? I don't know. What I want to know, I lost all three of you at almost the same time. Kit! Thankfully, before you needed to explain any further, a familiar head of messy hair crested the crowd, bouncing as if a certain somebody were jumping up and down. Over here! They bobbed out of sight, so you and Deja worked your way closer. Crossing to the other side of the street, you finally found Cameron at a local business booth. Are you all done with work? Sure am. What are you up to? Behold! A chicken. A man! With an impish giggle, they gestured at the table's inventory. Glass jars and cups of all sizes, labeled with neat stickers and filled with colorful, fragrant wax. I do love a good candle. Yes, but the question is, which candle? Cameron nodded grimly. Out of the whole section, they'd arranged a semicircle of options in front of them, with all the care and precision of an expert sommelier. A candelier? I want to get one, but how do I decide? Have you tried smelling them? Yeah, I've tried smelling them. I just can't tell them apart anymore, which is where you two come in. Deja snickered and scooped up a candle without further ado, checking its name before holding it closer to her face and breathing in. You did the same, starting at the other end of the semicircle. What's your favorite kind of candle, by the way? Maybe we can find it. You were in the business of smothering any unwanted odors. Ambiance, freshened up a room. Funniest name. Oh no, I don't like any of these. This is so sad. I like cologne scents. So, like, no matter what it is, because like I went out and I bought handmade soap a couple days ago. I like more masculine scents, specifically cologne, but the soap that I bought the other day was whiskey. So I don't know that any of these are really me. Probably not freshened up a room. Not really the funniest name. I will say that the funniest name candle that I have is called Him. Who is he? Why does he smell good? You preferred not to be distracted by scents. That's not the point. I don't know. I guess the heavier the scent, the better, you know, because like you can smell it, but I don't like any of the options. I like the super strong ones, you know, potpourri, core, but a candle. Like a really sweet vanilla. I was thinking about putting one of those in my car. While driving, I wouldn't light it. And normally I disagree, but it would cover up that curly fry smell. My car smells like fries? Just a little bit under the air freshener. Oh God. Deja's nails tapped softly on glass. She was holding a sky blue candle with a delicately printed label, which had a light scent. These are nice. I'm surprised I haven't seen this shop around before. The vendor told me they're pretty new to the area. Neat, huh? Are either of you getting one? Maybe next time. I gotta go sneakily find out what my parents like first. I'll hold off for now, too. So they said, but Deja did note the names of several noteworthy candles on her phone, and Cameron made sure to grab a business card before you left. You didn't get too far as high-pitched chorus of delighted chatter sounded nearby. Before you could decide whether to hurry away, you heard something else. A sharp, tinny bark. So cute. Hi, sweetie. Whose dog is that? Cameron let out a little gasp, appearing electrified by the sound alone. Could it be Of all times for Jamie not to be around, huh? Sitting on the curb was a small, flop-eared terrier, her short tail thumping contently as she gazed at everyone huddled around her. Nana, there you are. Nana perked up her ears, twisting to look wistfully over her shoulder at you. There was no resisting that eternally puppyish expression. You had to go give her a scratch or two at least. How'd you make it all the way up to the middle of a craft fair, girl? Guess we should have known she'd be at the busiest place in town. You let Nana sniff your hand, waiting for her approval before you rubbed your thumb over the little patch of black fur on her brow. There was an undeniable irony to how you'd finally found the elusive downtown dog, only for Jamie to be absent. Joke's on you. He can shapeshift into a dog. However, such irony was short-lived thanks to the dog in question. You hadn't pet her for long, but still, Nana hopped to her feet, shook herself briskly, and trotted off. Nana, wait! Keeping on Nana's figurative tail, you noted how she cleverly stuck to the edge of the street when possible, passing under tables and booths to avoid distracted pedestrians. Excuse us, Kit, be careful. Maybe it was fine for a little dog to avoid collisions this way, but you were going to have a harder time of it. Oh no. Yep, I had a feeling. You dodged out of the way of a few excitable kids as they ran up to the Origami Club's booth with their hands full of folded paper flowers. Nana ambled up on ahead, and so did you. Hey, sorry. The smell of freshly baked goods at the dessert club's table almost distracted you, but you rushed onward with steely resolve. Rather than push through the line, you looped around and kept going. Excuse me, sorry. You followed Nana past the weaving club next, and spotting motion out of the corner of your eye, you caught a wayward ball of yarn as you passed by, tossing it gently back to its owner with a smile. How did that even happen? Despite all your efforts, you emerged from the crowd more than a little befuddled, with your quarry nowhere in sight. What the? You turned on the spot in a half circle, twisting this way and that in a fruitless attempt to find a dog that only stood as tall as your shin. Before you could call out, you heard a familiar voice behind you. Hey. Kit, what are you doing? You spun fully around and came face to face with Jamie, sitting on the curb and patting Nana's head. I was following Nana. Uh-huh. What are you doing? He gestured at the street, then shrugged as if to say he was taking a break. His other hand remained scratching Nana behind the ears until her free-spirited attitude kicked back in. With a jingle of her collar, the terrier wriggled free, licked her nose, then scampered off one more time. Aw. Kit, Jamie. He turned just in time to receive a soft bop on the forehead. Ow. First of all, let's think twice before we run off next time, okay? Yes, Mom. Second of all, I think we have a problem. Okay? Deja gestured, and the two of you followed her to a bench on the side of the street. In the shade of the tree behind it, Cameron was speaking softly to a young kid. What's going on? Did the kid get lost, or did Cameron get lost? We ran into them just now. They lost their balloon. Cam's trying to cheer them up. Jamie, you're tall. Go get it. Could we get them another? And that was my thought too, but it's a long line, and they said they're waiting for their older brother who ran off on his own or got lost or something. It was kind of hard to figure out between the crying and, well, Cam's better with kids. How could they not be? Cameron might have been an only child, but they had more little cousins than they knew what to do with. Yep, that's my first thought. While Deja sent a few questioning texts, you stepped back and looked straight up. Hidden amidst the leaves, the very end of a colorful string was tangled around a branch. Jamie, it's for you. Deja, I think I just solved half the problem, at least. Which half? The half regarding the lost balloon. Jamie stepped forward, circling the nearby tree as the rest of you paused to watch him. He found a foothold and boosted himself up, latching onto a low branch with a grunt. Quickly but awkwardly, he clambered up onto the joint between the branch and the tree's trunk. Jamie, what the heck? What are you doing, man? Jamie was too busy finding his balance to respond. He sat up carefully on his knees, shuffling forward a bit, and twisted to reach all the way up, snagging the string where it was caught on a branch. For the record, I was just about to point that out. Oh, hey buddy, look at that. After some rustling, Jamie lowered back down, dropping his hand with the string looped around his fingers. He reached up in turn, unwinding it and pulling the entire balloon free. And just as he went to hand it back to its owner, the patter of small footsteps brought the kid's brother back to the scene, with 2 brand new balloons in his hands. Oh, all's well that ends well. From there, it was Cameron who volunteered to escort the kids over to a help desk. Deja went along to help with navigation and talking to staff. That left you to wait for Jamie as he slouched a little on the tree branch overhead. If I'd known that was going to happen, I wouldn't have come up here. But now we know your cold exterior hides a shiny golden heart. You thought otherwise? I'm hurt. So you coming down? I can't. And thus it was your job to find him a stepladder. It took 10 minutes to get him down, and by then Deja and Cameron were back. The distant melody of a stage faded, and with a hum, a second microphone clicked on. That would be the end of Keys. Okay, I didn't know we were on a nickname basis with them. Freestyle break, and the start of whichever act was scheduled to start. Attendees began drifting closer as a result, funneling down the street in a gentle current. As space opened up, you idly scanned the nearby tables until one caught your eye. By the way, this whole thing was just us going downtown for a little bit while Elio and Percy were out running around campus. Like, they have to have gone back by now and been like, where the fuck did everyone go? It was another club booth with folding stools that implied visitors could take their time and linger. The students there were sorting through plastic boxes, but they stopped as you approached. Hello? Hey, don't mind us, we're still open. Well, we're not selling anything, but you know what I mean. Oh, hey, Viv. Deja, glad to see you made it. Want to make something? Viv held up the box. Inside were compartments packed neatly with colorful beads and charms, as well as an assortment of clasp connectors and clips. Not a single seat at the table was taken, meaning you had time and space to yourselves. The 4 of you glanced among yourselves, eyes meeting in silent conversation. Yes, please. You were seated in short order, Cameron and Jamie on one side of the table and you and Deja on the other. Viv stood at the narrow end, passing out spools of glossy nylon cords. Well, if it's not obvious yet, we're the jewelry making club over on campus. You can make anything really, but we've got some tutorials for bracelets and necklaces if you want inspiration. She slid some laminated sheets onto the table and started unstacking boxes and bags full of beads. If you're looking for a charm in particular, we have a list on the back of that sheet, too. Just look for the little code that tells you which box it's in. Deja flipped a sheet over, and you looked over her shoulder at the finely printed double column of text filling the page. The jewelry making club did not mess around. Hey, what if we all made matching bracelets? Yeah, obviously. Cameron lifted a finger to ward off any protests, then reached to bracket a portion of the laminated sheet with her fingers, the section listing a complete alphabet of letter beads. Okay. And we spell out one message across all 4 of them, then split them up, 1 per person. What's the message? I don't know yet. Who decides? Cameron's smile was instant, and their answer even more so as they raised 2 fingers in a snipping motion. Play you for it? Your expression crinkled with amusement. They may have been offering a game of chance, but it was clear that Cam wanted you all to come away from this with something silly on your wrists. At least Deja and Jamie were willing to play along, the former nodding graciously, and the latter blinking calmly. I always go scissors. Jamie, what's the thumbs up for? Bomb. Straight face, Jamie twitched his thumb in a motion that mimicked pressing a trigger button. Bomb defeats everything. I'm telling Geneva. Agreed. Disqualified on grounds of crimes against stationary kind. Oh, come on. Despite his displeased protest, he sat back easily enough, lowering his arm as he waited for the rest of you to sort out a proper winner. You and Deja had each thrown scissors, leaving only Cameron to hold up a closed fist. Damn. Gotcha with the subliminal messaging. All right, give me a sec. They pulled a tray of beads close and hunched over it, fielding whatever message they were planning out. In the meantime, you and the others started braiding simple bracelets out of cord. I wonder what would happen if you chose paper, because then, like, everybody has chosen something that goes against everybody else. I guess you'd have to do another round, but is this the first year that clubs are participating in the fair? Yes and no. Before, if they wanted to participate, they had to sign up on their own with the event's sponsors. This year, the SGB stepped in and streamlined the whole process from the start. Was that your idea, Dee? Your roommate tilted her head back and forth, holding still as you helped her measure how much string she needed around her wrist. No, it was the senior on the board who got things rolling. That's why I was just on reserve when it came to running things. And you ended up not on reserve because poor guy got taken out by food poisoning. Each of you made a vaguely sympathetic noise at that. Cameron burred their lips in softly, still busy sorting through beads. It always seems so stressful organizing things like this. It's not that bad. We've had bigger ones. The barbecue is bigger, and tapping a daisy-shaped bead thoughtfully on the table, Deja glanced at Jamie. He'd fallen quiet, busy concentrating on his bracelet. You're third year, aren't you? I heard there was a pretty big concert, actually, 2 years ago. I transferred in the same year that Percy and Elio started. There was something deliberately pruned back about his tone then that told you he wasn't going to explain how or why. Oh, I see. Okay, ready. Cameron sat up straight again, pushing a few selected beads to each of you and drumming their palms lightly on the table in anticipation. Make sure they stay in order, okay? Looking down at your own allotment, you felt your brow crease slightly with confusion. From left to right, you had 3 beads, a C, an A, and an M. Hey, Cam, you sure you gave me the right ones? Sure am. It'll make sense later, I promise, okay? All done. Thanks to your hesitation, Deja was first to finish, holding up her bracelet with a quiet smile. Unfortunately, her letters didn't do much to clarify things. From left to right, they read, ISDA. Cam is the bomb. Jamie mumbled under his breath. Well, it has to be a 4-word sentence. Jamie mumbled under his breath, and you squinted slightly. Got an idea yet? No. Not a whit. Deja demurred bluntly, shaking her head. Cameron chuckled, then turned aside, glancing down at the loose ends of Jamie's bracelet. Want some help with that? Jamie nodded and dropped his bracelet into their hand. While Cam added an adjustable knot and a final bead, Jamie glanced at your side of the table, where Deja was helping you with the same. Oh, okay. Oh. What, did you figure it out? More or less. Don't spoil it, I'm almost finished. Returning Jamie's bracelet, they quickly looped a few more beads onto their own, then finished the braid, knotting everything together, slipping it onto their wrist, and securing it. Okay. In order, Kit, then Jamie, then Deja. You extended your hand as requested. Cam. Run. Is the best. Okay, so I was still right. Cam is but I said bomb. Cameron presented their arm with a victorious flourish. Hey, that's not funny, it's just true. Cameron's Exhilaration made it difficult to truly protest, and he pushed back from the table with a laugh and a well-meaning shake of the head. Did you know you were going to win? I can't believe you had that ready to go. Excuse me, I left it to fate. Not my fault, I'm just fate's favorite. Deja, do you have a second? Deja stepped aside with Viv, and the rest of you cleaned up and gathered your things. Your movements were now accompanied by the occasional click of beads, an unexpectedly heartwarming sound, which you heard from the others' wrists as they shuffled about. Sorry, we can go now. Where to is the question. You didn't doubt there was more of a fair to explore, but Cameron spoke up to the contrary, looking a little sheepish while they towed at the ground. Well, I'm feeling a little low battery after all this running around. Not that I didn't enjoy myself. We should be getting back anyway. You blinked a little guiltily, having blissfully forgotten that there was a literal study room waiting for the four of you to return, not to mention Percy and Elio left behind all this time. The festivities faded quickly behind you as you trekked back to Cameron's car. I full named them. I mumbled the last bit. It was like Cameron, but I full named them right there. Where the drive down had been abuzz with the clandestine excitement of a sneaky trip off campus, the return was more sedate. Traffic was merciful, and you were back in no time. Cameron led the way out of the parking lot, spurred on by the promise of a potentially lukewarm drink. Walking across the green, you were struck by the dreamy quality of the quiet that blanketed this part of campus. On your way out, it felt like the university was holding its breath, bracing for exams. Now, with your mind more rested, it felt more like a simple spring day's atmosphere. You smiled contently, even as you filed back indoors and arrived on the 4th floor. Hey, sorry about there's nobody here. You poked your head over their shoulder, and Deja and Jamie jostled for space on the other side. The study room was as you left it. Exactly as you left it, with nobody else inside. Did we really get back before they did? You considered asking where they were in the group chat, but any message with a timestamp would serve as proof of how late you'd returned to the room yourselves. Your sugar high had already faded, leaving you hungry for something more substantial. While you retook your seat, you couldn't help but think wistfully of Percy and Elio's so-called snack run. And as it turned out, you weren't the only one with wandering thoughts. Hey, Jamie? Yes, Cameron. What's your book about? He sighed softly and seemed to finally give in, head tilting forward as he picked up his book, and set it down again, pushing it an inch or so towards Cameron with a finger. If you're so curious, why don't you read it for yourself? That'd give you a better impression than any summary I can make. The door clicked open before Cameron could respond, and in came Percy and Elio, each balancing a tray of fountain drinks and laden with bags full of food. Where have you been? We've been here this entire time waiting for you. We're back. So you are. Heya. You and Cameron jumped up to help ferry everything safely to the tabletop, sorting out snacks, sodas, juices, and a disconcerting amount of chili fries in the process. Well, where have the two of you been? Not ditching, I hope. Yeah, there was a horse in the way. We had to detour. Oh. What about you? What were all you up to? Oh, this and that. Jamie's tone warned of incoming comeuppance, and your eyes darted over to him. He examined his nails in a show of casual indifference, then looked up to stare right at you. I'm not going to tell. You blinked a few times in quick succession, then broke eye contact and laughed a little too abruptly. I wish, right, Cam? I too wish that had been the case. Your muted panic brought an amused glimmer to Jamie's eye, but he eased off without saying anything else. After your exams, maybe. Dude, you have exams too. You know what we all have? Chili fries. Your belated and impromptu lunch passed by in a flash. After the crumbs and crumpled napkins were swept away, all that was left was to get back to studying. Just like how Deja had put it when you first arrived. Today was a long haul, set aside to wrestle through the last of your exam prep. Man, I left all the hard questions for last. This sucks. Cameron's low whine prompted a few sympathetic mutters from around the table. Even after running off for as long as you had to admit spending the rest of the day indoors wasn't appealing. Could anyone really blame you if you slipped your phone out for one last distraction? You found a candid angle and pressed the shutter button before anyone noticed. Yep, sure enough. Oh, I love this. You can see Isda, Aaron, Bess. That's so cute. No, I didn't find my light. Don't mind me. It just felt like a good moment. Immortalizing our collective torment? How dastardly. Hey, it's not that bad, is it? At least we'll have something to compare to when we're finally past exams. He was right. You did have a deadline to keep, but at least you had a keepsake now, capturing how exactly you'd be getting there on film. Ooh, that one was really long. Oh my god. All right, and then we got some text messages. Ooh. 5th floor. I think we stopped here at the no, so anyone who wants a cinnamon roll, come by. It's 2 a.m., so yeah, do you want a cinnamon roll or not? Yes, on my way. Caveat, we don't have icing yet. He needs powdered sugar for it. All we have is granulated. So anyone who comes, please be aware you literally have to hand grind your own icing sugar. I never said it would be free. What if we just bring our own powdered sugar? Oh, do you have powdered sugar, Mace? You mean you didn't even ask people? I've been grinding this sugar for an hour. Nice. Needs more sequins. Oh boy, I love the way that the chat changes. Okay. Anyone up for another study session? You abandoned me for chili cheese fries, and we'd do it again. And then a picture of a cat. Great job, buddy. Yeah, I like it. The shapes are very fun. It's eclectic. Totally. Sure. I didn't even get to choose. It's modern art, Deja. You wouldn't understand. Yeah, you're right. I don't understand, LMAO. LOL, cute squirrel. LMAO. Maybe it could use some work. No, it's perfect already. Dog. Working hard or hardly working, Jamie? How's the exam prep going, Percy? Why didn't you just kick me instead? Come on, we've been studying at least a little. See? I don't know. That makes me pull a Cameron. Hello? Deja, please, I'm so bored. Oh my fucking god. It's like you're in my head. Honestly, I don't really need that much time to study. Well, you're in luck. It's festival time. Who's excited? Apparently you, most of all. I am. Jamie, please, I'm the most excited. Yes, my mistake. But I've also never seen Deja this excited. SGB has a pep quota, so I have to put in the hype, because the hype is what keeps us working. Okay, when you put it like that, kicked me out. We all have to go, right? You sure do. Donut. Because why not? Okay, so it sounds like the next event is going to be some sort of festival thing. I do like the way that the text messages like lead you into the next event. All right, and with a new event starting, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here for now. It was a little bit longer than usual episodes, but I knew that the end was coming soon, and I didn't want to cut the ending off when we were only going to have like an extra 10 minutes for it. So, yeah, I'm very interested by the things that we saw in this episode, though, particularly Jamie. You know, because I said before, despite the fact that the game thinks that I hate him, I don't. I just found him to be very neutral. But I think this was the moment where I started being like, okay, I want to get to know him a little bit more. And I am interested in seeing the way that his character develops from here, and also, carrying over from the first couple of episodes. I want to fight every single person that is in our college because they are all just so mean and like they want something from him, but it's not who he is. It's not something that he can give them. They don't understand him like I understand him, okay? So I am really excited to see more of him and see what else this game has to offer. But I'm going to have to go ahead and end this episode here for now, like I said. So thank you for watching this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one for some more keyframes.